This movie is excellent on every level possible.
This is a beautiful movie with great performances in it.
Images from this film stay in my mind.
I think it's just almost like a perfect movie.
It is definitely an essential.
The Wind, 1928. This film came at a time when men and women were still inventing the movie industry.
Lillian Gish was really the pioneer for what acting on film is all about.
Even though there's no dialogue, so much is said by expressions in the face.
It's an extraordinary film, and everyone should see The Wind. It's exquisite.
The Wind.
The Wind.
The Wind, yes, from 1928.
Yes.
It's the only silent film that we're showing during the Essentials this time around. And it's the last silent film made by the great Lillian Gish.
Yes.
It came out shortly after The Jazz Singer had actually opened in New York.
Yeah.
Which started, of course, the whole sound revolution. Not a successful film, but today is considered one of the great classics of the silent screen.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this movie?
I think it's an exquisite movie. I think everyone should see this movie. First of all, Lillian Gish is astonishing. She always has been from the beginning of her career. I mean, she is the pioneer. She was one of the first people to really invent what acting on film is all about. When you look at her body of work that went all the way down to, you know, Duel in the Sun and Night of the Hunter, and how she traveled with all of that, how she aged and how her life changed. But what she invented in film and how she did it all herself, when you look at Way Down East, which I think we've all seen pieces of that.
When she's on the
iceberg,
floating,
floating down the river, and she would jump from one to the other, and they were real. There were no stunt people. There wasn't a fake iceberg. It was the real deal. The Wind is like that as well. They were shooting in the Mojave Desert. It was so incredibly hot that the film stock melted, and they had to keep it in an ice chest. And their wind was created by 6 airplane propellers blowing the sand.
Can you imagine working in all that?
No. But she got the film done.
Right.
You know, she chose the director, which was Victor Seastrom.
Seastrom, Swedish.
Swedish. She had worked with him
who had come over
before.
to do some Garbo films.
And then the handsome
Lars Hansen, who she had also worked with before. And she chose her cast, and she fought for it. And it's a very simple story of survival, of a woman surviving in the Midwest, and the treachery of nature and man. And I can't help but look at the excellence of the acting. Primarily Lillian Gish, but all of them. It's also, you have to look at the era of acting. This was the beginning of acting on film, and Lillian's performance under today's eyes might be considered over the top, kind of big, but it's not. It's actually a very quiet performance. Still, you watch her quietness, how she uses her face and her body and her eyes to tell the story. There's no dialogue, so she tells it exquisitely, and it's an important film for that. So let's have a look. Here's the last silent film made by the legendary Lillian Gish. From MGM in 1928, The Wind.